Okay, at this point, we're going to, as the world watches, we're hearing from Father Brady. We're going to introduce Father Jack Wall. As the world watching, Jack Wall is president of the Catholic Extension Society, one of the many faithful Catholics who are there in Rome. Father Wall, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, what an honor to be with you at this very moment in history, this historic moment. Uh, I was watching the feed from the chapel of the Sistine Chapel there, and Cardinal Superch is actually sitting right behind all the cardinals as they're coming forward to sign the oath.
So talk about the energy there.
Oh, it must be just amazing. I just can't imagine that room up. The Sistine Chapel in its own creates its own energy, but to have each of these men coming up individually, but also representing the church from around the world. There's never been a conclave like this one today. This is unbelievable. The whole world, the whole human family is gathered together with Catholic communities throughout the world, gathered in one place, and making such an impactful decision. Bringing forth a spiritual leader, not only for the Catholic Church. Pope Francis always said the Church is not self-referential. It's not about us, but it's really trying to come together to recognize the sacredness of every human being and the sacredness of the human family and how we can be more together with one another in this historic moment.
Father Wall, your longtime presence here in Chicago, in fact, your pastoralship was at Old St. Pat's Church. I've been to your masses plenty of times. I want you to speak from the heart. Who are you looking for philosophically in the next pope?
Well, clearly, everybody has someone that they're looking toward. And I think what I hear from all these conferences, people want to really carry forward some particular part of Pope Francis. He really was a pope of the heart. His messages always came from the heart. He's known as the People's Pope. And for us at Catholic Extension, it's been especially important because our mission for over 100 years has been to reach out to the poorest parts of the United States, from Alaska down to Puerto Rico, that everyone senses our oneness with one another. That's the message we have come to believe in. Frankly, all the world religions is that there is a oneness about us. We're one with the divine reality, with the mystery of God's love for us, and that we're meant to be that love and life for each other. The two great commandments: love God, love one another. And that's the heart for me of this. And so if you have a shepherd's heart, as the scriptures say, or if you have Pope Francis, has been such a powerful expression of that in our times and places. So I hope that spirit of Francis continues to flow through that conclave gathering, and certainly in the new shepherd that the Catholic Church is voting on right now.
And you carried forth that mission in such a profound way. I know I got to cover a mission. You went down to the border to help immigrants, and just realizing that the church is not a building, but the church are the people.
That is so true. And I remember our time together down there. We were down there, I believe it was a time when the Pope was actually over in Mexico, and Catholic Extension created a gathering at the El Paso Stadium, the I forget the Sunrise Stadium or whatever it was called out there, their football stadium. And the Pope came over the Rio Grande River and stood halfway across the river and blessed everybody on the other side of the United States, including many young immigrants.
Father Wall, talk to us. You've been in Rome for quite some time now. What are you seeing and hearing from the people, from the faithful, who have come from across the world to witness what is happening today?
You know, you just feel the energy. It's unbelievable. And it's so many of the people I think are still there from the funeral. Many, many young people came for the canonization of the young teenager from Italy. People are coming because of the Holy Year. So there's just a tremendous energy here. And it's one of the real places in the world where you feel the world coming together. And the way that the colonnade of St. Peter's, it's an embracing thing. It's saying we're all in this together. So you see people from many different languages, many different prayers being said in different tongues, songs being sung as people enter for their pilgrimage into St. Peter's. So just a wonderful energy. As you say, you can feel the spirit, and we hope, and everybody's focused on that room in the Sistine Chapel right now, just pouring their prayers into that chapel for the cardinals that are gathered there.
Father, I know when I was there for the funeral, there were a lot of people talking about how much they adored Pope Francis, but also really wanting in a new potential Pope someone that encompasses perhaps John Paul II and Pope Benedict and Pope Francis. I don't know if you can find that ideal person, but sort of wanting to combine those. Have you heard the same from the people that you are traveling with and the people who are there on the ground at the Vatican?
You know, there's a beautiful saying about the Catholic thing that we are not a people of an either or, we're a people of a both and. And I think, you know, what everybody's looking for is somehow the emanation, the incarnation of God's presence, God's love, and God's truth. And so everyone comes at it from a different place, and you'd love to have the person that pulls it all together. I think the truth is that we're called to be perfect, but we're never going to be perfect. So we have to deal with the incarnation of the human being that comes forward. And the Pope is there to proclaim, as I think Pope Francis said so beautifully, that we're all responsible. You know, it's not just the shepherd, but we're all responsible to be missionary in terms of moving God's truth and God's beauty and God's love forward into the world. And again, to see it as this is not a Catholic club. This is not about us. It's about doing God's work in the world. And we are a missionary experience that proclaims the sacredness of everyone. And I hope that that's so much a part of it. I think it's also a sign of the times that the church it is not enclosed upon itself, that we are really meant to be doing God's work. And that takes all of us. There's a billion Catholics out there somewhere, and there's more than that number of Christians. And we're meant to be that sign ecumenically and interfaith-wise with our Jewish brothers and sisters, with Islam, with all the great religious traditions. And I just feel that this is that moment when the church is meant to really be a servant church to the world itself. We need to create a human family where we see each other as blessings to one another and not dividing people apart.
Father Wall, a recent poll was conducted in the in the wake of Pope Francis's death. An overwhelming number of Americans, percentage of Americans, Catholic Americans, said that they appreciated the job, for lack of a better word, that Pope Francis did. No, American Catholics are just part of the bigger picture, but that should be telling in some regard, right?
Oh, you're right. You're spot on. You are spot on. That is the absolute truth. You know, the whole world, I think, was touched by Francis, and it signals, I think, what people are longing for. You know, I think there's a spiritual DNA in all of us. And it says, you know, we are more than our circumstances. We're not just passing through life, and our lives are not something. They definitely have meaning. They have purposefulness. And in a simple way, I just think God is calling us to be blessings of His love and life to one another. And until we figure that one out, you know, it's so simple, but it's so profound to see and encounter one another as mutual blessings to one another. And that's all inclusive and it's all embracing. And I think that's in reality, that's what the Catholic word means. That this is a all embracing universal experience of solidarity. It's human solidarity that is meant to be witnessed by faithful people in the Christian faith.
Father, there has never been an American pope. Each time in a conclave, there's perhaps one or two names that we hear come up, but often it's go in a pope, come out a cardinal, right? The favorites don't necessarily emerge from the balcony at St. Peter's. But what do you think the chances are?
Well, if you count on history, and if history teaches us, I think they're probably not too strong. But you know, right now the church has been run. I mean, for the last couple of weeks, the church has been run by an American, Cardinal Farrell, Kevin Farrell. So they've gotten that close. So we'll see what happens. You're
Father,
right. You never know.
We were speaking with Father Brady here on set a little while ago, and I'll pose the same question to you. You know, to what extent is the next pope, should the next pope be a peacemaker in what is happening in the world, Gaza and Ukraine, just a couple of regions?
Oh my God! You know, it's always been part of the, from the very beginning of the Christian experience, the first words out of the risen experience of the Christ is peace. And there's probably the greatest, most popular saint in the Christian journey in our times is, reaching back hundreds of years now is Saint Francis. And clearly his message of peacemaking and reaching through differences and trying to, in all levels, kind of create that sense of solidarity. Peace is a powerful word. Shalom, salam, peace, pax, pacis is a powerful word in every language, and it's the deepest longing, that we can be sources, instruments of peace and reconciliation in the world. There's got to be another way other than conflict. I think we all believe that, we're convinced of it. We just don't live it.
I think with Pope John Paul II, we saw that idea of traveling the world to really preach that message, and that has gotten more and more to be the case through the years. How important is that going to be in our next Pope, someone who can build those bridges?
Well, I think that's the secret of our time in history. The world is just shrinking so dramatically, and with the shrinking, conflicts occur. We're more aware of them throughout the world. The challenges of people it's rubbing against each other with different values and different desires, and just the reality of greed and all kinds of other things. That people want to be more powerful than others. And I think the challenge has always been, how do you take the powers that were given to us and empower one another? It's the only thing that will bring us together. You can't force peace. It's got to come from deep within. And I always think that that's the experience of the most intimate world, the gift of marriage. Marriage is difficult. Marriage is a challenge. But the desire is that two people can come together who are distinct and come together to become blessing. And I think that's kind of the sign that's given to us in the world right now. How do we take our distinctiveness, our distinctions, and not make it a source of division, but be it a source of blessing?
It's a great analogy.
Very much so. Father Wall, I want to ask you this. I know besides your close relationship with Cardinal Cupich, you're a longtime figure in the Catholic Church. I know you have some relationships with other cardinals out there. Without breaking confidentiality, can you kind of take us inside what those conversations have been like over the last several days, week and a half, et cetera?
There's a deep humility. Everybody, I think that I have not talked to a lot of cardinals, and even Cardinal Cupich has been quite busy in the last weeks. But there's a deep humility of just realizing you've been given this unique responsibility to choose someone who, is a saying, puts his pants on one day, one at a time every morning, and to say that this person, I really believe, would be the right person at the right time, and knowing it's not going to be a perfect choice, but hoping, I think, that the larger picture of the Church's direction since the Vatican Council, the wonderful leadership we've had in the popes of the 20th century, the last half of the 20th century into the 21st century. I mean, they're all inspirational people, and we need a source of that kind of encouragement, inspiration, joy. This is good news. That's what the word gospel means. We have good news to share about what's at the depth of our humanity, and to live it and witness, but then also to serve that as a community of people in the world. That we are here to proclaim good news, that your life is sacred, your life is meaningful, and figure out how to do that in a very interrelated world. It's a wonderful moment. There's a great line that from a poet who wrote this in 1939 as the world was about to fall apart. His name was Christopher Fry, and it's one of the most powerful poems, short poems I've ever heard. It says, "Thank God our time is now, when wrong comes up to greet us everywhere, never to lead us until the human family takes the greatest stride of soul ever taken. The world is now soul-sized, S-O-U-L, soul size. The enterprise is exploration into God. And if we believe that the mystery of God is alive within the human experience and the human family, that's where we are. Thank God our time is now. And I think that echoes, I think, the experiences I hear from the Pope, not from, obviously from Pope Francis, but from Cardinal Cupich and from the other cardinals in that conclave.
Father, as we watch each cardinal walk up to the Bible, you talk about the importance of the gospel. Tell us a little bit about this oath that they're taking now and the meaning behind it.
Well, I'm sorry, I should have that written. I saw it earlier today what the actual quote is, but I'm sure at the heart of it is just, I swear to do this from my heart, in my faith, that I will do this in an honorable and a forthright way and without force or circumstances from outside. A lot like the marriage vows. You come here without any force, and you're just doing this freely and of your own accord and listening to the Spirit that's at work in us, and it's to the best of my ability.
Father, as we continue to look upon what's happening right now, in several moments, Cardinal Raniero Cantalamessa, he's the preacher emeritus of the papal household, will deliver the second meditation to the cardinals in the presence of the Master of Liturgical Ceremonies. I believe that's Cardinal Farrell. And then Cardinal Cantalamessa and the Master of Liturgical Ceremonies will leave the chapel and the voting will begin. So we're only moments away from that.
Terry, I lost you the last word. You're only moments away from that?
Yes, from the closing the doors and actual voting to begin.
Yes, and this is that sacred moment, and we will open it to the hearts of each of those cardinals and pray that they may be inspired to bring forth a shepherd that really touches the lives of people, who lays down his life for his sheep, all the people, and becomes a source of inspiration and encouragement to all of us in our faith. So God bless them all, and maybe our prayers pour forth into that room for each of those cardinals, especially for the cardinals from Chicago, Cardinal Cupich, Cardinal Prevost, Cardinal Gregory, Cardinal Tobin, who was in Newark, was a pastor here in Chicago for a while, and Cardinal Czerny, who's from Canada, who studied at the University of Chicago. So there's a lot of Chicago presence in that conclave right now, and I'm sure that they will do their very best to lead us forward.
Let's talk about Cardinal Prevost from South Holland, because his name has been brought up as a possible contender.
Yes, I have not had the privilege of meeting him, and I've got to meet him because we're from the same neighborhood. We grew up in the same place.
No kidding.
He's an Augustinian, and he's been working in Peru, I believe, for many, many years. He heads up the Augustinian community, and he's got a very responsible position in Rome. He heads up the committee that gives recommendations for all the bishops appointed throughout the world. So he seems like a very, very qualified person, and if there's an American there, he fits the bill.
Well, because of his administrative role in the Vatican, he's known to all of the cardinals, known to be a bit moderate, and that might be something that could be appealing.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen. And I think this vote that we'll be taking in a few moments now, we don't anticipate that the Pope will, the smoke will be white in a few hours. But as you said, the Spirit takes us where it will. You never know where this may lead, but he certainly sounds like a wonderfully gifted person.
Father, we thank you so much for your time, but before we let you go, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to pass along?
I just hope that I'm shocked, first of all, at the amount of media that is present in Rome right now. I have never seen the thousands of media people, cameras, everything like that. The whole world the attention is being brought, and for your profession, for the two of you, to let the world know what is happening in this little chapel outside of St. Peter's Basilica. It's a powerful gift that you give, and what technology has brought the world together at this moment of inspiration, this moment of hope in this moment that is so filled with that sense of responsibility. I just pray for each one of those cardinals, and may all of Chicago and be behind in praying for them as we are doing right now. God bless you and your ministry.
And with that, we say thank you and amen. Father Jack Wall, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you and your thoughts. When you get back in town, don't be a stranger, please.
And I'm really pleased with all the work you're doing, too. It's been a wonderful journey on WGN. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks, Father.